It's funny how they reveal their state of mind so easily, isn't it? It's funny how people like Nux will just reveal their state of mind so quickly. What I wouldn't do to be in a Discord call with Nux for like 30 minutes. No, it's about sucking Trump's dick. You are a fucking propagandist. You are a straight up propagandist. So all this is a convenient opportunity to convince people they don't need their rights. And that's what many of these fucking losers see it as. Conservatives are not broadly at risk of getting killed just for what they think. It's not the case. It's just not. So, guys, for those of you who don't know, I assume most of you do, Jimmy Kimmel was recently indefinitely suspended from his primetime show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and then reinstated. Why was this? Well, obviously we don't have access to perfect replications of internal communications, but based on the reporting and based on what happened around it, it seems that essentially Brendan Carr going on Benny Johnson's show and saying, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Broadcasting companies are required to serve the public interest, and the FCC will take your license away if you don't do that. That essentially Brendan Carr saying that, in conjunction with some business moves that were happening at the same time behind the scenes with these broadcasting companies. Specifically, I believe it's Nexstar are attempting to acquire some other broadcasting company that will give them like a huge amount of control over the market. So that requires the approval of the FCC to go through. So they're worried about their business interests, and they essentially were forced to shit can Jimmy Kimmel. Now, there was a massive uproar over this. ABC lost like $4 billion in stock price. Stock value over the week or something. He was suspended over the few days. So there was a massive uproar. People really rallied behind it because obviously, if you don't know, about a year ago, there was a Supreme Court decision by the exact same Supreme Court that is sitting right now, all the same justices, that decided, it's called NRA versus VULO, National Rifle Association of America, versus VULO, where it was decided that federal employees, anyone with federal power, cannot use their office to coerce private entities into disfavoring or favoring speech according to the government's preference. So when Brendan Carr said basically, oh, you spent all your time attacking Trump, we're going to take your license away. That you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. These same justices that are there now ruled just a year ago that's unconstitutional. That's against the First Amendment. That's viewpoint discrimination. You can't do that. You just can't do that. Now, obviously, a bunch of right-wingers, because this instance of unconstitutional behavior aligns with their sort of moment-to-moment values, they supported it. They cheered it on because they're totally unprincipled hacks. Nux obviously being one of those people. This is someone who, assumedly, is pretty pro-free speech in most cases, when it involves, like, drawn depictions of underage anime characters. I imagine he's quite pro-free speech. Yet all of a sudden, when it's milquetoast liberal commentary, he thinks you should have the government enact penalties against you. Strange priorities, odd priorities. But hey, that's Nux for you. Let's take a look.
Our GOAT said in 2017, Jimmy Kimmel isn't funny. And Charlie Kirk, how right you were. You won in the end. But again, I would never speak ill of a man that died fighting for God. But you're wrong, Charlie Kirk. Jimmy Kimmel getting fired is actually very funny. So, for those of you that are unaware, Jimmy Kimmel was fired. As I called, by the way, in my video yesterday, I made a video saying Jimmy Kimmel's gonna get fired for this. I'm completely correct. It happened literally in a day. So, damn, that's crazy. So, Jimmy Kimmel's show was taken off of the air, and Charlie Kirk wins from the afterlife. Bro is smiling down from heaven right now, laughing at this motherfucker. So, lock in, boys and girls. This is gonna be really good. First, I'm gonna show you the clip of Jimmy Kimmel, which eventually gets him fired. Then I'm gonna talk about how it came to be, because I don't think people are aware of how this happened. So I'm going to break it down for you because it's so important to recognize how much power we, not the media, we have, all right? Because this was done purely by backlash from influencers. That's how this happened.
No, it wasn't.
All right? So we're going to be breaking down the how, the why, the what.
No, it wasn't. It was done because the chair of the FCC threatened a private company. That's why it happened, Nux.
And then I'm going to be doing a follow-up video after this one, looking at the reactions. Hassan Piker losing his mind that we don't have freedom of speech anymore. That, you know, I can't believe he was fired. Oh, AOC, he's freaking out. You get Ben Stiller is losing. I think it was Ben Stiller. Was losing his mind over this. The reactions, dude. Gavin Newsom literally going full retard. Dude, it's absolute cinema. Locked in, boys and girls. First, I'm going to show you the clip that he had. And,
Gavin Newsom owns this guy. Newsom owns this
your
guy.
average YouTuber. I cook.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than
zero false statement here, by the way.
To score political points from it.
This 10-second clip, is one of the worst things I've ever seen on cable television in my life. We know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, that the killer was a far left whack job. A far left guy.
We don't know that he was far left. We don't know that at all. He could have been a liberal. He could have been a moderate left, but sort of like had a radical outlook. We actually don't have a clear ideological alignment for the killer at all. It does seem like left-leaning, for sure. Left-leaning seems to be the case. That seems to be, you know, that's what everything points to. But we don't have, like, far left. We've got nothing to suggest, like, communist. Nothing to suggest, like, socialist. It's just, like... See, it seems like he leans left. That's the best you can really say about it right now.
According to himself, his boyfriend, his parents, his friends, based on what he actually wrote on the fucking bullet, catch this fascist, that he had to murder a right-wing guy.
Oh, yeah, and of course, if you think fascists are bad, then you must be a communist. It's funny how they reveal their state of mind so easily, isn't it? It's funny how people like Nux will just reveal their state of mind so quickly. If you're against fascism, you must be a communist. So what does that say about you, Nux? If that's what you think of the world, if that's what you think the ideological alignments are.
Know the reality. He is not the reality. He is, a lot of people call a comedian, but I mean, he's not funny, and he is just a news show, so you can make the argument that I don't actually care if he labels himself a comedian. He is directly pushing direct propaganda, and I'm going to tell you why it's even worse than this. And this is the step that a lot of people are not willing to take, because it's not just that it's misinformation, it's not just that he's a propagandist, it's not just that he's violating the FCC laws. Are you ready?
This is Nux, who lies through his teeth in every single fucking video. This is Nux, who tried to convince a Cheeto that some journalist who got killed by Israel was a fucking terrorist. This is Nux, who said if there was a genocide in Palestine, they'd all be dead by now. This is Nux, who called for the doxing and harassment at places of work of Home Depot employees that made jokes about the failed Trump assassination. Saying that other people are propagandists spreading misinformation. Uh-huh. Yeah? I would love to talk to this guy. I would love to talk. You've got no idea, man. What I wouldn't do to be in a Discord call with Nux for like 30 minutes.
He is running defense for domestic terrorism. Okay? By not being willing to recognize the fact that there is a domestic terror threat in the United States of these far left, coked out of their mind, overdosing on drugs, retard bitches that are killing themselves and people around them, and that are mutilating their bodies and the bodies of their enemies, alright? If you're not willing to recognize that there is a far left domestic terror threat in this nation, and you're running defense for them while simultaneously slandering half the population for something they did not do, you, sir, fucking suck. And if I was your employer, I would fire the shit out of you immediately. That's why, by the way, I said he was gonna get fired. The reason why I said he was gonna be getting fired was not because of free speech laws. No. Because if I was his employer, I would want to get him the fuck away from me. Like, literally, I would want nothing to do with an employee running defense for terror organizations, actually. So...
What? How did he run defense for terror organizations? What the fuck are you talking about? Literally, this is total schizophrenia. This is like, doesn't map onto anything that happened. Jimmy Kimmel, he's saying Jimmy Kimmel ran defense for terror organizations, yeah. That's what he's saying about Jimmy Kimmel. Dude, I wish Jimmy Kimmel was that fucking awesome. Dude, you were like, this is the same thing they did with Hassan. It's like they treat Hassan like he's like some goose-stepping Nazi. It's like, I wish Hassan would, you know, put on the Hugo Boss and start goose-stepping, you know? I wish. That'd be fucking awesome. That'd be fucking awesome. That would go crazy. Blasting Erica. That would go crazy. But he's not. But he's not. And you make him sound epic. Like, Jimmy Kimmel is not running defense for terror orgs. It ain't happening. He's the most milquetoast liberal in the world.
Welcome to Disney's Jungle Cruise. Name's Captain Jack and I'll be your skipper. You look at that, an acetomenabeast lurking by the riverbank. Oh, God help it's albino and eating the young.
Okay, thank you for the $10. Thank you. Thank you, Fairy Queen.
Locked in, boys and girl. Today's going to be insane. Let's watch the full clip, though.
Between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes, he's at the 4th stage of grief, construction.
He's the president of the United States. Is he not allowed to do anything other than mourn for a guy literally himself? I mean,
Dude, holy fuck. What is that engagement? Dude, he will literally do anything to sweep for Trump. How do you not even... Like, this is Nux, right? Nux presents himself. Nux says to his audience, I just like chaos. I'm not even on a political side. I just like chaos. I just like memes, man. It's just memes, man. It's just memes, man. It's all memes, man. That's Nux, right? He can't make a joke about that. You can't make a joke about the fact that someone says to Trump, hey, Trump, how do you feel about your dead friend? And he's like, oh, I'm building a brilliant new ballroom. Most beautiful ballroom in the world. But it's all about memes. No, it's about sucking Trump's dick. You are a fucking propagandist. You are a straight up propagandist. Disgusting Israeli shill. A straight up propagandist. And you are so willing to, like, sow dissent and fucking violence in other people's countries. It's sickening. It's sickening.
to be fair, it's a pretty wonky...
Literally, he is, like, creating consent for... He's, like, manufacturing consent for, like, fascism right now. Like, literally. Saying, yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is defending terrorist organizations. He's running defense for terrorist organizations. Antifa is a terrorist organization. All of Trump's crackdowns against Antifa and the people that fund him are justified. And Jimmy Kimmel is part of that. An attack on Jimmy Kimmel's First Amendment rights would actually be justified because he is part of a terrorist organization. He is part of a sprawling, faceless, unidentifiable terrorist organization that is killing all of us. That's what he's doing right now from his fucking shithole place in Israel. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Trump moment. It really is, but that's what Trump is. Trump is a wonderful, wonky mix of shit. All right, let's be real. Okay, all right. But you are making fun of him and misrepresenting his killer, and you're criticizing Trump for not mourning him in the way that you want him to mourn. Like, you are a feminized fucking twat. There is no reason why you should be employed anywhere.
Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how
I'm sure he fucking grieved in his own time. What did he... All right, so if Trump talks about Charlie Kirk, then I can't believe Trump is weaponizing the death of his friend to push politics. If Trump is not publicly having mental and tearful emotional breakdowns like man bitches, well, then that means he's not actually...
It's like, literally, like, zero engagement. Dude, he said... They asked, how are you feeling about Charlie Kirk? He said, yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm building this brilliant new ballroom. Building this beautiful new ballroom. It wasn't... Like, he used the topic of Charlie Kirk to say he was amazing, and then to brag. It's not like... It's just... Oh, you have to either be crying or you're using it, or whatever the fuck he's trying to spin this as. It's just engage with the question. He should say, yeah, I mean, well, it's like a big loss. Yeah, it was fucked up. Like, that'd be easy. Like, it's really not hard to respond to that question without sounding like a total psychopath. But Trump failed the basic speech check there. Like...
doing a really good job, you know, doing anything like that than mourning his friend. So you recognize the catch-22. You can never win because you only win when you stop.
Oh, there is no
playing
catch-22
the
there.
That's when you win. All right? And this is really, really nice. You win when you stop playing the game. And I will not lie to you. I will not lie to you. I stopped playing the game. I stopped playing the game. Literally, fuck you, I don't care. It's been my mentality the last week, and it's been so much healthier.
Dude.
Because fuck you, I don't care.
Literally, never trust anything. I understand that everyone here understands already. If you watch Nux, ever, unironically, this is him saying, don't trust anything he says, ever. He doesn't care about principles. He doesn't care about getting the facts straight. He doesn't care whether it's true. He's saying, don't play the game. Don't play the game. Don't engage. Don't engage with the truth. Don't engage with the arguments. Don't engage with the idea it might be unconstitutional. Don't engage, like he's saying, don't play the game.
Is exactly what I think everyone needs to recognize. With all due respect, Vance hosted Charlie Kirk's show, which I thought was a really, really good show. I think he did an amazing job to honor his friend. And they all criticized him for weaponizing his death in order to promote his political shit. Now, Trump didn't do that. And they're like, Trump isn't even grieving his friend? This is why you only win when you stop playing.
Yeah, the only two options there are host Charlie Kirk's show and use it to launch your presidential run for 2028, or talk about your ballroom. Those are literally the only two options in how to deal with Charlie Kirk's death, guys. There's literally the only two options.
Now, I wanted to show you a tweet from Charlie
It's one
Kirk,
or the other.
where he
That's
said,
all you get.
Jimmy Kimmel says repulsive liberal voices drive people away from the Democratic Party, but somehow fails to admit he is one of them. And I think Charlie Kirk, once again, from beyond the grave, proven unfathomably correct.
It's the loud voices that scare people from saying what they believe and make you think twice about a joke or whatever, these things. And, a lot of their points are valid, but a lot of them are also just repulsive. And I mean, they repel people from, they go like, oh, you're no fun, I don't want to be around you. And I think that...
Yeah, and that's every single person that celebrated the murder of an innocent man. And that's really the ultimate wake-up call. You're either good or evil, and it's really, really obvious based on your reaction to the situation.
If you had to boil it down to like one thing, that's kind of what it is. It's like, oh, you're no fun, I don't want to be part of your group.
Correct. Good job, bro. So anyway, from beyond the grave, Charlie Kirk once again coming in with straight fire. Now, Benny Johnson is a YouTuber. I'm not like his biggest fan of or anything, but he cooks from time to time, and he cooked this time. He absolutely.
But what did Jimmy Kimmel do that was repulsive? Seriously, like there was nothing. It was a totally it should have been totally uncontroversial what Jimmy Kimmel said, but because conservatives feel like they've got a mandate to start breaking the Constitution, start tearing it up, which is what Nux is supporting, by the way. Literally, he is cheering on the Constitution being torn up. Because they feel like they've got like a mandate to do that because Charlie Kirk died, they can slip it past everyone, and enough conservatives going to be whipped up into a frenzy to not oppose it. Because they feel like they've got that opportunity, they would just lie and push forward. It's disgusting.
And now, I hope you're ready for what you're about to see. Because Benny Johnson deserves the ultimate fucking goated treatment for this one. All right? Benny Johnson, look, man, I don't know you personally. You absolutely fucking killed it. Benny Johnson went nuclear. He did a meeting with the FCC chairman and basically brought this whole story directly to the guy. And obviously, I mean, I didn't watch this yet, but from what I understand.
He didn't put the assassination on conservatives. It's not what happened. It's not what happened. Literally just not what happened. Jimmy Kimmel said... He said, MAGA have been desperately trying to point fingers at anyone other than themselves. That's true. That is exactly what MAGA had been doing. That doesn't make a statement on what group the shooter belonged to. And Jimmy Kimmel explained as much in his latest monologue. He said, yeah, I wasn't pointing fingers. I was saying they are pointing fingers. They are pointing fingers without full evidence. That was the point. That was the comment. There was no statement of conclusion on who it was. He did not say it was MAGA. Did not say the kid was MAGA. Did not say he was inspired by MAGA. Did not say that. Didn't happen.
This put enough public pressure to get them to actually fire Jimmy Kimmel. And this is why, I mean, mainstream media is a joke at this point, and everyone knows it. And we are the media now. It's because of influencers and honestly, backlash that people get from public figures and that are not mainstream media that is actually moving the wheel of justice. It's no longer the weird dictatorship regime where the media tells you what to think and you just have to go down that path.
Yeah, actually, it's not a weird dictatorship regime when they start breaking the First Amendment and the FCC is violating people's First Amendment rights, like according to a Supreme Court ruling that literally happened a year ago with the exact same justices that are there now. Right, of course.
That era's ended. So I wanted to see this discussion they had, and then the breaking news that he gets
That's
fired.
actually less authoritarian,
the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah,
thank you for the raid. Non-fun. Friend of the show. Friend of the show.
Possible. As you indicated, there are avenues here for the FCC, so there are some ways in which I need to be a little bit careful, because it could be called ultimately to be a judge on some of these claims that come up. But I don't think this is an isolated incident. I mean, you go back to Representative Swalwell, and he had a tweet out last week where he was saying that, emphasizing that Charlie Kirk's killer was a straight white male from a Republican family that voted for Donald Trump. In some quarters, there's a very concerted effort to try to lie to the American people about the nature, as you indicated, of one of the most significant, newsworthy public interest acts that we've seen in a long time. And what appears...
I think it's worse than that. I don't think it's... Look, the lying is one thing. All right, the lying is one thing. We've all gotten used to the lying at this point. As sad as it is that, the media is so real and easy and quick to lie to you, we're all kind of used to the lies, as disgusting as it is. As disgusting as it is, we're all pretty used to the lies. This is literally running defense for terrorism in America. And people aren't willing to take it that far. People say it's a free speech thing. People say he'll fire because he has bad ratings. Everyone has a different thing. They're dancing around the issue because no one wants to actually say the reality. And the reality is that this motherfucker was running defense for terrorism in America. If you see an act of terrorism, and instead of blaming it on terrorism, you blame it on the other guy, with all due respect, you're running defense for that terrorism.
He didn't blame it on anyone. He did not blame it on anyone. There is not a single point where he blamed it on anyone.
Fuck nugget. And honestly, I'm just like totally done with it. I'm completely and totally done with it. I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care. Look, man, the entire conservative movement is grieving this man. You blame them for killing him while running defense for the people that...
Just for the sake of... just for the sake of total clarity.
We had some
Let's watch the clip. Let's watch exactly what he said again, just so I've got it in this segment.
new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize
this kid who murdered...
Wait. Let's play it from some.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
So, he did not say the kid is MAGA. He said, let's get the exact words, so I don't misquote at all. We've reached new lows this week, with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. All factually correct statements. 100% factually true. Now, if you approach that with sort of like a negative impression of Jimmy Kimmel, or you're like ready to hear someone say a lie about this, you might interpret that as insinuating that the kid was MAGA. You may interpret it that way, and that's not like this crazy, like totally delusional reading that it's insinuating that. But he didn't say that. He didn't say that. At no point did he say the kid was MAGA. There isn't like a lie there. There isn't like a point where he makes a statement that is untrue. So the idea that, first of all, even if he did make an untrue statement, that still wouldn't justify the use of the FCC against him. But at least you would be able to understand a little bit more why people are being drawn into this public trust argument. Like the idea that networks have a responsibility to the FCC or whatever. Even though that public trust standard has only been used in like these super insane cases where they're like, it's like, oh, there's like a fire and you have to evacuate now, and there's not actually a fire, you know. It's like that sort of thing is usually what the public trust stands for. You can understand why people be drawn in a bit more if there was actually a lie here. But the point is there isn't actually a lie here. And so when Nux is sitting there saying he's running defense with terrorist organizations by lying about who did it, that's like so obscenely wrong and is blatantly just to justify the breach of the First Amendment. Like that's the only point of him saying that, is Nux is just trying to convince his audience that violating the First Amendment is actually awesome here. Stop people questioning it. Like all the right-wingers are doing right now. I mean, sorry, not all of them. I shouldn't say all. It's not all of them. Ted Cruz is standing up for it, so it's not all of them. Candace Owens too, I believe.
Actually killed him. Literally, fuck you. And your whole moral platitude bullshit. None of it matters. It's all a joke. It's all a lie. And it's falling apart in real time.
But MAGA
appears to be an action by Jimmy Kimmel to play into that narrative that this was somehow a MAGA or Republican,
which is a complete lie.
That's what happened.
And by the way, my opinion is the fucking shadow government or whoever it is that's fucking sending this garbage. All right, are you ready? Like they're all pushing the same garbage, every single one of them. Look what CNN said. CNN was with Ted Cruz. All right, and the CNN bitch that was running that fucking segment says to Senator Cruz, I want to find just the clip because this is crazy. Like this is absolute insanity.
Violence. We should, when funding acts of violence, we should go after. But this is a left-wing problem.
True.
How can you argue that it's, I think the argument that people have been talking about recently is what's going on with the Charlie Kirk case. I think people have raised that because there have been other acts of political violence as well when it comes to targeting Democrats. I mean, we've seen that with Elizabeth, who was killed in Minnesota this summer alongside her husband.
See, like, look, it's just obvious. He literally, it's not about the fact Charlie Kirk died. It's not about the fact there's been political violence. It's just a justification to become more authoritarian. That's all Nux sees it as. Nux cares about, right? All Nux cares about is having drawn CP. He cares about that. That's number one for Nux. Number two for Nux is Israel. Number two for Nux is Israel. And number three for Nux is people shouldn't be allowed to be mean to him, okay? So if he says something racist, if he says something stupid, if he says something violent, if he says something excusing pedophilia, if he says anything along these lines, he wants it to be that all these mean woke lefties can't be mean to him anymore. That's what he wants. That's his priorities. That's his priorities. So all this is a convenient opportunity to convince people they don't need their rights. And that's what many of these fucking losers see it as. They just see it as an opportunity to try and basically convince you that you should give up your rights, that you should allow the government to fucking rape you, that you should bend over and be a disgusting fucking bootlicker. From another country where it won't affect them, by the way.
We've seen it with the break-in.
Which was a left-wing guy that killed her, by the way.
Nancy Pelosi. We've also seen it with Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
Hold on a second. If you're going to say facts, you need to get your facts right.
Correct.
The assassin there was not a right-wing assassin acting.
Sorry, it will affect him. It will benefit him massively because it will secure funding for his, genocidal country for the next, 50 fucking years.
The assassin there was someone who had been an appointee of Tim Walz, and he was a deranged lunatic. Yes, when funding acts of violence, we should...
Correct. And in fact, that was one banger from this interview, but one of the crazier ones is there's an even better banger from this interview. And it's insane. It is insane. Get a look at this one. Holy shit. Let me find it.
Yeah, as Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, just said, right now they don't have any evidence of an organization. Obviously, they're still looking into this. But on the bullet casings, I don't remember there being a transgender one on there. I remember him saying there was one that said, if you could read this, you're gay. It was referencing internet memes. But on what you just said there about investigating
there is, hold on a second, Caitlin, there is a transgender one. Hold on, Caitlin.
She's insufferable.
Go ahead. There's a reference to, do you see my bulge, which is, I'm told, is an online meme for transgenderism.
It's not. It's a furry thing. It's a fucking furry thing, dude. The bulge shit is not explicitly linked to transgenderism. It's non-trans... Anyone with a cock. They're not... Okay, Ted.
To transgender furry shit. Like, they're all such liars. And dude, the actual, it was cinema, this entire interview.
We're not even about the facts here.
What you just said is false,
Senator,
Caitlin.
No.
Caitlin, facts. Oh, hold on a second. Let me answer your statement. Because
it's just gay sex, Ted. It's about gay sex, Ted.
You're putting a lot of statements that say.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
And I want to get back to, we just laid out the facts.
You just said law enforcement has not made out a motive. That is objectively false. That is objectively false.
They did not say exactly what it was.
And
They laid out
CNN
every
should
dose
this
so
information.
So everyone on CNN still has the script that they need to make believe that they don't know the motivation or the ideology of the shooter. In my opinion, every single person that is pushing, every single person that is still pushing that they don't know the ideology of the shooter should lose their job.
You don't know the specific ideology of the shooter. You can interpret that he probably leans left. I think that's a reasonable interpretation. You can't really get any more specific than that based on the evidence we've got.
Because I actually care. Not because I want to invade anyone's freedom of speech. No. But because why would you employ a liar to run your news station? Why would you knowingly employ a liar to tell the news? So anyone that says that should be fired. And anyone that's not fired that does say that, the news station should be bankrupt and not funded by the government.
Here with his conduct, that is really, really sick. And I've been very clear. From the moment that I have become chairman of the FCC, I want to reinvigorate the public interest. And what people don't understand is that the broadcasters, and you've gotten this right, are entirely different than people that use other forms of communication. They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And in some ways,
and literally lying, that's not the public interest. So fuck you, Jimmy Kimmel, and your gaggle of retarded goons. Literally fuck yourself, sir. It'll make me happy when you cry. Yes, that's right. And I'm not doing the empathy shit. And but Nux, you don't care about freedom of speech? Of course I care about freedom of speech. Of course, I also care about the free market. You know, the free market where you're allowed.
This isn't about the free market. So again, there is a Supreme Court case just a year ago, NRA versus Vulo. Exact same justices that are on the Supreme Court now ruled unanimous decision. You cannot, as a federal, in fact, let's get the exact wording because it is literally just what Brendan Carr says here. It's like spot on. It's like identical. The court released its opinion on May 30th, 2024, vacating the Second Circuit's decision and remanding the case to the lower court. Justice Sonia Sotomayor? I don't know how you say her name. Authored the court's unanimous decision favoring the NRA, stating government officials cannot attempt to coerce private parties in order to punish or suppress views that the government disfavors. The decision further held that government officials cross the line into impermissible coercion when they engage in conduct that, when viewed in context, could be reasonably understood to convey a threat of adverse government action in order to punish or suppress speech. Justice Sotomayor explained that at the heart of the First Amendment's free speech clause is a recognition that the viewpoint discrimination is uniquely harmful to a free and democratic society. So, literally, word for word, spot on, exactly what Brendan Carr fucking did. No room for wiggling around that, like, reading of it. Now, could they try and argue something with the FCC guidelines about public trust? Maybe. But my understanding is that all the precedent for that is about, like I said, like it's about imminent issues with public safety. It's about, like, saying there's a hurricane when there's not, saying you have to evacuate, and everyone gets, you know, fucking stuck in a fucking traffic jam or some shit.
To fire your employees when they're sack of shit terrorist supporters.
That we've been trying to reinvigorate the public.
I'm not saying that Jimmy Kimmel's a terrorist supporter, but I do think that he is taking the issue away from that.
Interest in some changes that we've seen, but frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, you know, there's going to be additional work for the FCC.
Oh, shit! Ahead. So, yeah, so anyway, that's a threat. Anyone that's unaware, but that is a threat. That is basically saying, you should fire this guy for pushing propaganda because he's pushing propaganda. Why the fuck aren't you firing him? And if you don't, maybe the FCC will have to look into this. Maybe you're violating certain codes of conduct. Now, to be honest, I don't want the FCC involved. I'll be real. I really want this to be like a self-sorted out issue where the individual companies get so much fucking
but you're cheering on happening right now.
Promoting propaganda that they don't find it worthwhile in the free market to employ these people. That is absolutely what I want. Ideally, I don't want the Federal Communications Commission to get involved. Ideally, in the best world, there will be so much public backlash from people with brains that...
But, okay, wait. No. Dude, this is such a disgusting tactic. Saying, ideally I don't want this to happen, but this is so bad that it has to. No, you just hold the principle. Either you think this is something the free market should correct, or you think it's something the government should correct. It's one of the two. You clearly... So, you can't believe this, and then go on to approve of the FCC getting involved. In that case, you simply just agree with the FCC getting involved. This whole first part is irrelevant.
That the fucking companies themselves do not find it worthwhile to employ propagandists.
What kind of action would you see? I, at the very least, would like to have an on-air apology from Jimmy Kimmel to the Kirk family, to all of those who he slandered, because he did say that Charlie Kirk, he's effectively saying that our movement did this, our movement killed Charlie, that Charlie was deserving of this, effectively. And we've seen that rear its head. This happens quite regularly, actually, on MSNBC and on other networks, where they're trying to victim blame.
That's right, hold his fucking feet to the fire, my brother. Benny fucking cooked this man.
And what that does, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, is continues the lie and continues the threat level.
I'm in complete agreement. 1000%. People don't realize this because people don't want to say it out loud. You're in danger. You are in danger. 25% of the population is an over-medicated sack of shit that wants you to die. You are in danger. They will celebrate your death. Again, not trying to fearmonger or anything. All right, because I think most of these people are, you know, on the one hand, they want revolution.
You're actually delusional.
So I feel like that kind of cancels out for the most part. But
random conservatives are just in danger. The only thing they're in danger to is fucking, you know, if they're a woman, their husband beating the fuck out of them and shooting them in a violent episode. If they're in the South, probably. That's their biggest danger. I don't know, probably statistically, that is literally the biggest danger, is like, yeah. That is actually the biggest danger. And conservatives are not broadly at risk of getting killed, just for what they think. It's not the case. It's just not.
But they will celebrate your death. This is a problem.
To say effectively that we have no share in this problem at all on the left. This is a clear-cut case. What would you like to see done at ABC?
Well, look, I think what you said there strikes me as a very reasonable, minimal step that can be taken.
Holy shit.
Calls for...
I think this is such a gangster move.
Kimmel be fired.
And he gets fired right after this little interview, like a few hours later. I'm giving you the whole lore, a breakdown. I do it good, all right? We go through the whole fucking lore. Right, we start at A, we get to Z, we go through the lore. You need to know how it happens and how big and beautiful this fucking fafo is. But I agree. Jimmy Kimmel should have come out and apologized immediately, and he didn't. And good, get fucked, motherfucker. I don't care.
I think, you know...
So yeah, you just approve of the FCC being used to take us down. So yeah. So you don't believe in the First Amendment, so you don't believe that free speech be protected. You just agree with the FCC getting involved. Okay.
Here's the funniest thing. They're all crying about freedom of speech. Oh my god. What, the freedom of not fire your employee? Excuse me. Where were all the free speech?
So again, NRA v. Vulo, the government cannot coerce a private company into favoring or disfavoring speech based on the government's preference. It is about free speech. Yep. It's literally about the First Amendment.
Speech warriors when, you know, people were firing their employees that didn't want to get the COVID vaccine. Where were all the free speech warriors that were firing and freezing the bank accounts of their employees that didn't want to wear a mask or social distance?
Wait.
Where?
Not getting the COVID vaccine is not a matter of free speech. Like, you can have issues with that. You can have issues with, like, vaccine mandates or whatever. But that's not about free speech. That's not a matter of free speech. When a country doesn't let you in because you don't have a vaccine for a disease they have there, that's not... Or a vaccine for a disease from the country you're coming from. That's not a matter of free speech. That's not a matter of free speech. That's a matter of public health. It's a matter of public health. Like, literally just safety. It's like... How is that a free speech issue? Please explain that one to me, Nux. I will literally do anything. 30 minutes to the Discord call with this fucking retard. How much do I have to donate to which Israeli charity? Just tell me. Just tell me, Nux. How much money do I have to give to the IDF? Okay, how much money do I have to...
Where are the free speech warriors that literally celebrated when Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, was banned on Twitter? You'll see more of this in the next video, because the next video
$400 to
Nambla and looking at the meltdowns. But you literally have zero legs to stand on. You're going to try to cry, and everyone knows you're a liar, but despite the fact that you know you're a liar, you're going to lie anyway. You are going to lie while you know you're lying, and you're going to maliciously lie, and people are all going to know you're lying, but they're going to have to make believe they don't know you're lying. That's how fun this is. And that's why I'm never going to take this shit seriously, because they all know they're lying.
Could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. Again, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at.
He's got nothing to say.
We may ultimately be
That's the worst part of all this.
This also strikes me as sort of conduct that to some extent shows some sort of desperate irrelevance.
That's crazy. That's a crazy comment. Bro, imagine Jimmy Kimmel is so irrelevant. So irrelevant. His ratings on his show are so fucking bad. Then he had to come out here and make up some sort of crazy hoax, slandering a dead man and the MAGA movement. Holy fuck.
That's just not the case. Again, this is another total lie. The idea that Jimmy Kimmel's ratings are like falling off a cliff. Jimmy Kimmel's ratings are falling in line with like most other cable TV programs. No one watches fucking cable anymore. He still occupies a primetime slot because he still gets primetime viewers.
Legacy broadcast.
That's right, baby.
Could control and dictate the
That's
narrative.
right. The narrative is shattered. The media are liars. The talk shows are pundits. We know this. We know this. I am the media now. I am the media. That's it. It's over. It's over. We're in the new era. We're in the next timeline. We don't care anymore. Congratulations. You have officially fucked yourself so badly. You will forever be in the bathroom with anal fissures from how badly you fucked yourself. This is beautiful. It's absolute cinema.
In people. And one thing that President Trump did when he ran for office, he ran directly at that legacy media establishment. He smashed the facade that they get to control.
He got that shit from some pedophilic dogen. 100%. 100%.
What we think, the narrative around...
He was imagining a scene just then.
Consequences that are flowing.
I think one of the major consequences is everyone calling Trump supporters Nazis, which kind of basically got Charlie Kirk killed by some radicalized furry.
From President Trump doing that. I mean, look, NPR has been defunded. PBS has been defunded.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah. Is out. MSNBC. Has gone from ABC. Is now admitting that they are biased. CBS has now made some commitments to us that they're going to return to more fact-based journalism.
Well, yeah, they lost their fucking funding. Oh my god, I am shocked. I personally cannot believe this. I can't believe this. They stopped getting government funding. They have to fire all of their retards that weren't getting viewers. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, retards. Oh, retards having such a bad day.
I think you see some lashing out from people like Kimmel.
Yeah, because he was going to get fired regardless. It was only a matter of time. In the words of the late and great Charlie Kirk, Jimmy Kimmel was never funny.
Who are frankly talentless and are looking for ways to get attention. But
he's not funny, but it's like totally irrelevant.
I can't believe Benny Johnson went straight to the FCC. I'm like, I think it's such a glorious moment.
Important to hold in the public interest standard. That's what
this is. Benny Johnson, the guy who got paid by Russia to spread Russian talking points. Benny Johnson, the rumored, alleged homosexual man, the alleged homosexual man who has a wife and family to hide it. The alleged homosexual man who has a wife and family to hide it, who we watched a video of him being a homosexual man last night, making out with little Middle Eastern BuzzFeed employees, making out with little Indian BuzzFeed boys in the closet at the staff party during a 2013 BuzzFeed party. This is alleged gay man Benny Johnson, Russian shill, alleged gay man and Russian shill Benny Johnson, who was taking talking points from a guy called Edward Gregorian and bags full of cash for having his show syndicated on Tenet or whatever the fuck.
To do.
So we did elucidate and enumerate a number of statutes that could be used against ABC.
Oh my god! Dude, just bringing it out straight. Dude, this is crazy.
Mr. Chairman, would you just explain for us what broadcasting in the public interest means? I don't think most people understand actually the depth of how important it is that ABC, NBC, CBS have these gratuitous broadcast privileges granted to them by the American taxpayer.
Yeah, the right way to sort of explain this to people so they understand it is in the media landscape that's relevant here, there's two main buckets of actors. One, you've got what we call national programmers. So that's what Comcast is, Comcast NBC. That's what Disney is, Disney ABC. They're the ones that effectively create and produce these shows. They then provide those shows to individually licensed TV stations. And those TV stations are in the main owned by independent companies, independent from Comcast and Disney. But Disney and Comcast both own some televisions themselves. So start from the idea that national programs.
We'll get to that at some point. Thank you for the 199.
Given to and distributed over licensed TV stations. It's the licensed
keep donating.
TV
we'll get there. Actually,
that have the public interest in it, including those TV stations that Comcast and Disney own. So FCC regulatory action focuses on those individual stations. And one thing that we're trying to do is to empower those local stations to serve their own communities. And the public interest means you can't be running a narrow circus.
That's right.
And still meeting your
public interest means it needs to be the interest of the public, not direct propaganda that only propagandized fucks actually have an interest in seeing.
Public interest obligations. It means you can't be engaging in a pattern of news distortion. We have a rule on the book that interprets.
That's right, baby.
That says news distortion.
That's right.
Is something that is prohibited. Likewise, we have a rule that addresses broadcast hoaxes. And so, again, over the years, the FCC has stepped back from enforcing it, and I don't think it's been to the.
Dude, I think the FCC needs to literally get on top of shutting down these hoaxes. Like, if it's especially think about it. If you have a government funding the news, which is supposed to be objective, which we all know at this point is not objective, it has to at least be honest. Like, I get that you're not objective because we don't live in a perfect world, but.
What is this post about this, Gavin? Is I can't even show this. I don't even know how to explain this to you guys. I don't even think I can. Gavin Newsom posts like a picture of like an N on a wine bottle. It says like Newsom wine to mock like the Trump shit. People started putting like other letters, you know, like IGG, and then someone's posting like, pour me a glass of the Gavin, and then just the N word, harder. It's like a Chad looking guy standing at a bar with a wine glass. It's like, pour me a glass of the Gavin.
But how could you not? How could you literally lie to us? How could you lie to us? Like to our faces. Obama, yesterday, still is repeating the fucking hoax that Trump said that white nationalists and white supremacists are good and fine people, which has been debunked a million times. He never said that. He never ever said that. Like, this is the level of insanity that we're dealing with. Like, we need to shut this down because there's absolutely no reason why it should exist. And no, it's not free speech. You have the right to say what you want, but you shouldn't be funded by the government to say this on cable television.
The benefit of anybody. Just look at the credibility of these legacy media. It's absolutely through the floor. They used to be able to say at least they were more trustworthy than Congress.
Yeah, they're not.
Less trustworthy.
The media is literally less trustworthy than corrupt politicians.
Congress. And so I think as a business matter for them, something has to change. And at the FCC, you know, we need to reinvigorate this. So again, there's actions that we can take on licensed broadcasters. And frankly, I think that it's really sort of past time that a lot of these licensed broadcasters themselves push back on Disney. They're going to preempt. We're not going to run Kimmel anymore. And
that's right, baby. That's right, baby.
Licensed broadcasters are running the possibility of fines or license revocations from the FCC.
So literally, so he's cheering on the FCC getting involved in issuing fines, taking away licenses.
Dressed like a gay Ghostbuster looking boy looking for Slimer.
Thank you for the $4.99, Lorax. Thank you for the $4.99. Thank you. Great stuff. Really great stuff having a chat here with the donos here. Yeah, I can't believe he went from pretending that he had any reservations about this to just completely cheering it on. Guys, some of the Ghostbusters shit.
We continue to run content that ends up being a pattern of so I think again Disney needs to see some change here. But the individual licensed stations that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say this, you know, garbage to the extent that that's what comes down the pipe in the future isn't something that we think serves the needs of our local communities. But this sort of status quo is obviously not acceptable where we are.
You believe that
he's completely correct in everything that he just said. I completely agree. And it's really nice because we're actually getting there. We are getting there.
What Jimmy Kimmel said rises to the level of news distortion.
Look, again, the FCC could be called upon to be an ultimate judge in that, but at this point, I think it's clear. It appears to be clear that you can make a strong argument that this is sort of an intentional effort to mislead the American people about a very core, fundamental fact, a very important matter. At the end of the day, if we do get called upon to cast a vote on this, Disney will have a chance to put in their arguments. This is a very, very serious issue right now for Disney.
Yeah, so this is an actually really insane world that we're living in right now, and I don't think people are realizing how absolutely diabolical it is. Now, there is one thing that is important to note. One way to avoid the FCC clamping down on you, because like if you're pushing false info, you're going to get absolutely obliterated, as you should, because you should not be getting funded to be a news broadcaster when you're literally not giving news. You're just lying to people with no actual reason. Like Candace Owens could get away with it because, well, realistically, Candace Owens is not, government funded, and freedom of speech actually does exist. Now, one defense that I've seen people use a lot is that Jimmy Kimmel is not news, he's a comedian. Right? That's one of the major defenses that you see the woke retards using. He's not news, he's a comedian. In my opinion, if you're literally funded and you are essentially news, even though technically you call yourself a comedian, that actually doesn't fucking matter. I don't care that he's not even funny. I don't care that he's a failed comedian. None of that matters. He is a news show, and everyone knows that he is a news show.
He's not a news show.
Comedy.
He's not a news show.
But he tries to be snarky and cute about it. All right, that's.
It's like 90% celebrity bullshit. Like, it's all just fucking celebrity bullshit. It's not a fucking news show. What are you talking about, bro? How is it a news show? You're smoking crack, bro. You're legit.
It's insane. Especially because most comedians now are just essentially news. They unless they're directly doing, a talk show in front of people, in front of a live audience, which he does. But again, it's just news every time. Direct news slop. And it's crazy. Douglas Murray said this on Joe Rogan a couple of months ago, and I thought he absolutely fucking cooked. He absolutely cooked. And I think it's important to see it because bro was completely correct here.
But there are a lot of people who have come along, partly I think because they've come on this show, who have come along and they've decided I can play this double game.
I can't stomach fucking Douglas Murray. Like, not doing that. And it looks like it's over, to be honest, anyway. That's all the interesting stuff. You watch the FCC bit, that's all I care about. Wow, awesome stuff. Really, awesome stuff from Nux there. Really high-level engagement. Glad this guy's such a free speech warrior when it comes to drawing images of children getting fucked and literally nothing else.